And today is, what is today? Today's April 30th, right?
End of the month.
End of the month, last day of the month. We're here at the VA Hospital, Veterans Affairs Medical Center, and I'm here with Brenda Johnson, and my name is Carlton Cartwright. I am the founder and executive director of the Children's Coalition Incorporated, and we're going to get started with the interview. Brenda, what branch of the service were you in?
Air Force.
Oh, you too. I was in the Air Force. Okay, what is your birthday?
June 1st, 1951.
And what is your current address?
4013 Heath, Circle North.
Okay. And what city is that in?
West Palm Beach, Florida.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and it's just you and I here. And what branch of the service? You said you were in the Air Force. What was your rank when you separated?
E1. I was an airman first class.
When you separated?
Yeah, I only stayed for a year.
Okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine. Well, were you drafted or enlisted?
I enlisted
Okay, and at the time that you enlisted, where were you living?
here in West Palm Beach, and I was living in Riviera Beach.
Okay, all right, and why did you join?
Because I was 18 and I had to get out of my dad's house, and during that time there weren't many jobs for blacks. He said, you know, you got to get a job or you got to go, and I tried to find a job and was unable to find a job, so I went to the Air Force recruiter and signed up.
Okay, all right. Why did you choose the Air Force?
I don't know. I think it was just I was in that area and I saw that recruiting station. It wasn't a very good plan. I mean, it wasn't a planned thing. I just had to do something.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be a Sears downtown across from the Air Force recruiter's office.
Uh-huh.
I think I was at that Sears or something, and I saw the recruiter's office, and I went in and joined up.
What was I going to ask you? Where did you go to high school?
I went to high school. It was Riviera Beach High then, since turned to Suncoast. I moved down here from Virginia. We were only here for 2 years before I joined up.
Is that where you were born? Mm-hmm. In Virginia? What city is that?
Coburn, a little town in southwestern Virginia, a little coal mining town.
Oh, okay. Coal miner's daughter, huh?
That's right.
Okay. Is that what your dad did? Was he a coal miner?
He was a coal miner
Really?
there, and then when he came here, he worked in a foundry.
Okay. What is that? What is a foundry?
It's where they mold parts, molten metal, pour them into molds, and make different parts for different things.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It's a lot of fire, a lot of smoke, a lot of hot metal.
Right. Okay. All right. So you had just graduated high school, and you didn't want to go to college?
I was a very young 18. I had no clue.
Okay.
I had absolutely no clue about anything.
Right.
College just
Didn't register.
It never registered. My parents were not high school graduates. They didn't have any education. They never pushed education to us. There was no extended family. No, college was not a thought on the horizon.
Wasn't there. Okay.
It was not there.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fine. All right, do you recall your first days in the service?
Vividly, that basic training. We went to Texas.
Wait, so you went in from here? Okay, so you sit down at the mall, Sears?
Yes. Sears.
Down on Palm Beach Lakes?
Right. I had to go to Miami for all the testing and the physical.
Right.
And then I left from Miami, and I went to, what was the name of that training base in Texas? I can't remember the name of it.
Lackland.
Lackland.
Gotcha.
Right?
Lackland Air Force Base.
So we went there for basic training.
San Antonio.
Right.
Right.
It was tough.
Did you get to go to the city there while you were there?
No.
No?
We didn't go to the city at all.
How many? We did. We got to go into San Antonio
Did you?
when I was there on basic training. Yeah. So how long was your basic training?
I think it was 6 weeks.
Okay. What was your AFSC? Didn't you know what that was? Did you know what the job that you were going to get?
No, they didn't tell
No?
us that at the time.
Oh, that was I knew.
They announced. I know I was hoping to become an air traffic controller,
Me too.
but
Didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
There was no spots.
I don't know what happened, why, but no. There were a few girls in my outfit who did get
Okay.
air traffic controller.
Right.
So I'm not sure why I didn't, but I
The deal
didn't.
was, yeah.
I didn't get it. I think I got the supply thing, just clerical supply type thing, which is what my high school had prepared me for. Took typing, shorthand, all clerical accounting type stuff.
Okay. So you were in basic training for 6 weeks? And tell me about it.
Whoa. It was a whole new world. It was getting up like 4:30 in the morning, marching, going to the mess hall, coming home. We had to wash and iron our own uniforms.
Right.
The beds had to be made a certain way. It was pure hell. There was an academic portion of it, which I did very well in. But the actual marching and the, folding the socks a certain way and the drawers in a certain order.
The regimentation?
Yeah, that was not my strong suit. So I had a really hard time for that. I thought at one point they were going to kick me out, but I did so well academically that they let me stay.
Okay.
But I did not do well on the marching and the bed making and the ironing the clothes. Can't iron to this day.
Okay. Tell me about your instructors.
Oh God, they were rough. They were just yelling.
Men, women, what?
They were women. Most of mine were women.
Okay.
Marching. It seems like I have no rhythm, and I didn't know my right from my left.
Right.
So I was always. I still have that problem today. I still can't really tell right from left. But so as you can imagine, marching and doing those maneuvers.
It's a challenge.
It was quite a problem, and so they were mad at me a lot, and I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready socially. I wasn't ready emotionally. The maturity level was not there, so I was lucky to get through it.
Right. How was the food?
I don't remember anything bad about it. I don't think I ate very much. I think I was in such a state of upset and just kind of anxiety that I didn't do much eating. It was just something I wasn't prepared for. And I didn't quite know how to handle.
Okay, well, all right. Basic training was 6 weeks, so you got through it. All right, so when did you find out about your job and did you know what base you were going to be going to?
Yes, they told us at the end of basic training, and I remember being really hurt and disappointed because I didn't get the air traffic controller.
Oh, okay.
And they said I was going to Loring Air Force Base in Maine, which was right on the border between the United States and Canada.
Right.
And oh God, it's so cold. And it was just what it was, is what I had to do. So packed my little duffel bag and hightailed it on up there.
So did you go to tech school before you went?
No, because it was like a clerical
Yeah.
MOS. I could type 70, 80 words a minute. I
Oh.
knew shorthand.
Wow.
I had accounting, so I worked in a supply office where we received in the uniforms, we counted them, we gave them out.
What is that? Gave what out?
The uniforms.
Oh, okay.
So no, there was no tech school or
Really?
anything for it.
Huh. I'm surprised. Okay, so what was Maine like? I know it was cold. I know that. But what else? What was the base like?
The base was nice, and it was near Boston. It was near all those New England towns.
Okay.
Boston, Philadelphia. So I made a friend, and we traveled back and forth to those towns. We got to see Boston. We went to Canada.
Did you go to New York?
Did I go to?
You said Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't think we went to New York.
No?
Though. We went to Philadelphia.
You did? Wow, why'd you bypass New York? Were you
Yeah.
flying, driving, or taking the
It
train?
was her boyfriend mostly who
Drove?
us.
And you drove straight through New York and didn't stop?
I guess not.
Wow.
I don't remember.
Well-
stopping. Remember, this was 43 years ago.
No, I understand, but I grew up in New York. And coming down through the New England Thruway, I guess you could sort of bypass it and just hit the New Jersey Turnpike and just keep going. Wow. Okay. So, you went to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
He was an Air Force airman too, but he also had a band.
Okay.
And we went to different towns where he had booked, dates to play.
Right. So, okay, now, so you went to Canada with your boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
But with her boyfriend, your girlfriend's boyfriend, you went to Philly.
Right, because I didn't get that boyfriend until towards the end.
So do you remember the cities you went in Canada with your boyfriend who was a musician?
I don't.
Okay. So what was it like traveling with him? And when you go for weekends, you go on your
We'd go for
leave, weekend leave?
Yeah, it was fun. I was in love. He was in love. We were having a ball.
Right. Where else did you go?
That was it.
That was it.
After I met him, it wasn't long before I got pregnant. So then then at that time they made you get out.
Oh, no.
Pregnant.
Jeez, that was it, huh?
It was horrible. I didn't even know I was pregnant. I was just so naive.
Yeah.
And so not versed in the ways of the world. I just went to the doctor because I wasn't feeling well.
Right.
Or something, and he says, "You're pregnant." Oh.
You're wrong, huh?
Yeah, and at that, because I was like 4 months,
Wow.
and they hustled me out of there so fast.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. All right. Well, let's go back. For that whole year, I want to talk about that year that you were in the service.
Okay.
So you did 6 weeks. 6 weeks in basic training. You go to Maine. So tell me month by month, what was life like?
It was a lot of hard work. It was very exciting because there were like maybe 40 women on base and a whole base full of men. And remember, I'm 18. I've never dated. I've never had that kind of social life. Never
Right.
had a boyfriend. So, for me, it was just like all these guys were suddenly interested in me.
Right.
So it was just a fun time, just going to the NCO club, going out with my friend, and just basically, work was just something to do in between.
Okay. How did you get along with your peers?
Some of them not so well. The one girl I was the roommate with, that's the one whose boyfriend, he had family in New England, so we went to visit his family. But most of the other girls,
Not really.
not really.
What was Boston like anyway?
It was, the thing I remember most is eating crabs, going, getting fresh seafood, going to, there was an department store called Feline's there, and, seeing this big city. It was exciting. It was nice.
So what did you do in Boston? What did you do there?
We went to his parents' house. We went out to dinner. I think we went to see some historical sites.
So was he in the military?
He was in the military.
But he was from Boston. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so went shopping.
So what about the officers? What were the officers like? Were there any female officers?
Not that I remember. We handed out uniforms to like the non-commissioned people. So
Right.
most of the ones I came into were non-commissioned people.
Right.
The people I worked for, I guess there was a lieutenant and a captain, and as long as you did your job, they were fine. Very lenient.
Right.
I didn't really run into.
Tell me about a couple of your most memorable experiences.
Gosh, most memorable experiences. I guess being on an airplane for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, going to basic training. That was my first time ever flying. Even though I was very fearful and felt very alone. It was still a very exciting moment. That was during the time when you didn't see blacks in airports. There were not many black people flying. It just felt good. And what other memorable experience?
What kind of discharge did they give you?
Honorable.
Great. Keep going.
Let's see, what was the other most memorable experiences? Well, I'm from Virginia, so seeing snow was not, even though we'd lived in Florida for a couple of years, it was not any big deal. The little town we were closest to was Caribou, a little teeny town, so it was fun seeing New England and that little bitty town.
Right.
It was pretty bleak and desolate up there is what I remember.
I bet.
Going to Canada, it was, not anything really exciting. It was gray and it was harsh.
Right.
And just not someplace I'd want to live.
How did you stay in touch with your family? You still talking to your dad?
I was still talking to my dad. It was phone calls, and we'd write back and forth. I would write. Nobody would write me back, but I would write them, and then I could collect every month, every week, or something like that.
Right. Who was home? You have siblings or?
Right. My oldest brother was home. He was a Vietnam veteran. He went into the Marines as soon as he graduated. He was injured in the arm, lost most of the use of his arm, so he was at home. My other brother, he also went into the military as soon as he graduated. Like I said, my daddy was 18, you out of here. So he went to the Army, so he wasn't around that much. And then I had a sister who was 2 years younger. She was home. My mom and dad were separated, and we lived with my dad. And,
Right.
he was home, my brother, and my sister.
Okay. All right. Let's see now. So you didn't see any combat or anything like that?
No combat. Although the Vietnam War was going on, no combat for me.
Did you or anybody in your unit sustain any service-related injuries?
As far as I know.
Okay. All right. Were you awarded any medals or citations? No.
No, I told you it was going to be a very exciting interview.
No, that's okay. No, these are all the general questions. That's not a problem. Okay. So how was the food now that you're out of basic training? In Canada, in Philadelphia, and Boston. Well, Boston, you said the fish.
Boston the food was very good. I don't remember much about it one way or the other, so it must have been okay.
Okay, I got you. Did you have all the supplies that you needed?
They gave me this great big huge parka, big green thing with fur around it, and
Keep you warm, huh?
yeah, they did. It was.
They didn't want you to freeze to death, did
Good.
they?
That was, I think, when I was there at the base, there was a black officer, a black lady officer, some pretty high-ranking officer, and I remember being inspired by her that, this was probably someplace that blacks, because it was still a lot of discrimination at that point.
A lot of racism.
Yeah, very hard to get a job, very hard to get ahead. So I remember being very sad that I had to get out. It was just not what I wanted to do.
Gotcha. You didn't want to get out, huh?
I did not want to get out.
In your overall job, was there a lot of pressure or stress?
No, not much pressure or stress at all.
Okay. Besides the trips that you took, your boyfriend and your girlfriend and her boyfriend, what else did you do to entertain yourself?
We went to the NCO club. Just did a little sightseeing. I didn't play cards. I didn't do anything like that. There were card games and stuff in the barracks, but I'm pretty much of an introvert. So if I wasn't with my one friend, I was usually just by myself. I love to read, so I did some reading. That was pretty much it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Okay. Did you go to school while you were in the military?
I didn't go while I was in. I did go after I got out.
Oh, really?
On the
GI Bill. Oh, good. So tell me about your last days in service. Tell me about that whole. Just tell me about it.
Well, like I said, I was very sad, confused, and upset that I had to get out. But I was just rushed along. It was not like I was given any choice. It wasn't like anything else was presented to me.
Any options, you mean?
Any options at all. I just had to go, and as you can well imagine, if my dad didn't want to take care of me, he certainly was not going to want to take care of me and a baby.
Right.
So I just remember feeling dazed, confused,
Right.
anxious, and upset.
Lost.
That's a very good word for it. Lost. It was just, I think if I had waited for a little bit more maturity to kick in, for me to have a little bit more experience in the world, I think I would have had a much more rewarding military career.
Right. Okay, so when you got out of the service, where did you go?
I went to Wisconsin, which was where my baby's father was from.
Oh,
We didn't get married, but I stayed with his parents until I had the baby.
I
And
thought he was from Boston.
no, I just went to Boston with my friend's boyfriend. My boyfriend was from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay. And he was in the service?
He was in the service.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went there and had the baby and stayed there for a little while afterwards, until I got on my feet.
Mm-hmm.
And, we had saved a little money, so then I came home, found a job
To Virginia.
to Florida. We had moved from Virginia to Florida.
Oh,
I know it's very confusing.
and well,
We're all over the map.
yeah. So, okay, so you went to Wisconsin, and then you decided to move to Florida.
Me and my son, after I had the baby, we came back to Florida, and I broke up with that guy,
Okay. His father.
his father.
All right, now, just a little clarity here. All right, you call him Florida home. Why?
Because I came here when I was 16.
Okay.
It's
Your
where
parents had moved here?
my parents
Oh,
moved
okay,
here.
okay.
Yeah, it was where my
You grew up in Virginia, but your parents had moved to Florida.
yeah, they moved to Florida when I was 16.
Gotcha. Okay. I got it.
So
I
yeah,
got
this
it.
is home for me.
All right, so here, the same Palm Beach County?
West Palm Beach, Riviera Beach.
Okay, so now you have a baby, and you came back here. What did you do?
I got a job.
Doing what?
I was working for the gas company. Those same clerical skills, which I took in school.
Right.
Hoping to make a career with. I got a job with those. I left that job. I went to work for an engineering firm.
Right.
Secretary. That was the career path most women were expected to take at that time.
Clerical?
Clerical, secretarial.
Right.
That's before days of computer, and everything was typed, handwritten, transcribed. So after that, I got a job with an engineering firm. After that, I got a job with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. I still wasn't going to school yet. I was still just trying to make a living. I worked for the newspaper, worked a couple of jobs.
Okay.
Trying, to make ends meet for me and my son. And then I lucked up and got on with Florida Power and Light.
Did what?
Got on with Florida Power
Okay,
and
good.
Light. So that was in 1976. And I stayed there for the next 30 years. And that's where I went to school on the GI Bill. I bought my first home with my GI Bill benefits. So even though it was just that year, and even though that benefit to me was like a godsend, because I would have never been able to afford my own place without the money that I got from going to school on the GI Bill. They didn't pay. I don't think they paid for the actual courses. They gave you so much money.
Right.
They gave me so much money a month, so that combined with my salary with FP&L, I had a nice little place, had a nice little car,
Right.
and it really, it really was a good.
Made a big difference.
It made a big difference in how I was able to live my life from that point on.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, did you continue any of your friendships after the military?
Just with, my boyfriend, we had a baby together. He was a deadbeat dad, but with his family, and no, with any of the other people in the military, no.
Okay. Okay. Did you join any veterans organizations? Okay. All right. Well, we got the career thing down, Pat. All right. Just a few more questions. Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
I don't think it did. I think it was more my educational, and my social and political leanings. It was brief, and no, I don't think it had any impact on the way I feel about war.
Okay.
Which is that it should be avoided at all costs.
Okay. Gotcha. How did your service and experiences affect your life?
Now that it did have a major impact on, because it grew me up a little bit.
Right?
I was still very immature and naive, but not nearly so much as when I went in, because it just taught me everybody doesn't have your best interests at heart. You know, you can lose valuable goals and career paths by making stupid decisions.
Right.
By being immature and vulnerable, that you really have to look out for your own best interests is basically what it taught me. You can't just fall in love and go gaga over a guy and throw away your career opportunities, what might have been the best career opportunity that I had at the time. Just throw that away based on an emotional attachment that didn't even last.
Right.
And that's kind of the way I've lived since then is, okay, what's it going to cost me? What's the possible cost?
Right.
What are the possible gains? So I guess critical thinking skills, it really helped me gain
Sharpen.
some critical thinking skills and just not take everybody at face value, not take everybody who say they will always be there. They won't always be there. And that it gave me some self-reliance too, I think, because, you know, I remember going through that airport with that big old rucksack on my back and just feeling like stopping there and crying, just feeling so lost and afraid. But you just had to put one foot in front of the other and keep going.
Right.
So it really was an invaluable experience. I feel like they gave me much more than I gave them.
Okay.
I feel like it was kind of an uneven exchange.
Right.
I wished I had given them better service for the things they did for me.
Right. Okay, well, is there anything else that you'd like to add? You feel like you left out anything?
No, I just think it's a great career opportunity. But I think, you know, there should be more.
More what?
And they may do this now. The tests I took took the clerical test, I took the spatial test, took the mechanical test, but there was no emotional, no social, no maturity level test. Where is this person at emotionally?
Okay.
Where are they at socially? How well do they understand the world? How well are they able to make decisions on things that are likely to be thrust before them? And I just wish that they would do some more of that. I think if they did do some more of that, they would exclude people who just aren't ready.
Right.
I just wasn't ready. I just wasn't ready for that. Even though I found it very helpful, I think they need to do more to make sure their recruits are ready for all the challenges that come with military service.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you for a wonderful interview, and even though you feel like you came up short, I want to thank you for your service anyway.
Well, thank you.
Okay, and I'm glad to see that everything worked out.
It did. It really, it started me down a path. It really did. It really did start me down a very productive path, and I think that's one of the most valuable things military service can do for people. Well, thank you.